We had skid tables in here because we were set up for selling plants, but now we've transitioning back to this greenhouse just being for personal use, and so we're gonna build some raised beds and see how much food we can grow ourselves in here. So as of yesterday, the greenhouse was full of skid tables like what you see here from last year when we were selling plants. And now that we are transitioning to using the greenhouse for personal use, we're going to take the legs off so that they're not wasted, and we can use the skids for firewood, and we're using the legs to build raised beds. So far we've taken legs off of all those skids you see there. It's a gorgeous sunny day. The snow is finishing melting off the top, and it's a good day to clean up. And while we're cleaning up, we're burning the old plant matter and some other things in the fire, getting a fire going in a barrel stove and warming it up. So yesterday we took apart some skid tables, used the legs. We prepared the two side walls as well as making the one other raised bed that I showed in the video.
Alright, that side's done.
Alright, do you want to show them what you did, what the plan is?
Alright, so the plan is to take these 2x4s and put them right like this.
Okay.
And then screw them into this corner brace 2x4. And then what I did is I basically just screwed into the backs of these things. So basically, I'm just taking the 2x4 and setting it like this and marking how far in it is so that we know how far over to put this thing. And then screwing it down. Now, I'm going to take a 2x4 to make sure it's square at the top. Good.
Not perfect.
Yeah, well, we're using these materials.
What we got.
Alright, now we gotta put the sides on. And do the other side. Alright, so now we're going to screw our 2x4 here onto our 2x4 corner brace here. we put
heavy.
it on the other side. Right, let's put the other side.
Make sure you got the pretty side out. 'Cause I'm a girl. So now we need some more legs.
Yep.
We're going to take some legs off of our tables for our raised bed.
So we can get to reuse the screws.
I'm excited because it's going to make it so much easier to clean in here without having to clean around all the tables.
There we go, now we gotta put it on the other side. All set.
So when we put it down, I want to flip it because this is the bad side. So this will be the bottom, and this is nice top. Okay. Maybe eventually I'll put some trim. All right. Let's see. Probably. I need to carry this beast. We actually need a clean cover, but we can roughly put it somewhere for now. Okay, so we have to be at least probably like that far at this beginning.
These rocks.
And then a foot out. So the rocks are only a little bit underneath. So that's the wall that goes up in the summertime to where you see those boards go across. And we plan on having these two shorter beds, and then after we've cleaned up this area over here, That's a huge mess. We're going to put in one more, probably an 8-foot bed, and that'll get us to where we put up our temporary wall every winter. So this is where our temporary wall goes up every spring when we want to heat in here. Basically where you see the insulated bubble wrap up to the top and over to the side. And that area back there is what we have found that we can heat. We've tried to heat the whole greenhouse when it goes below -10, -15, -20, and it's just not going to happen. But we've put up a double wall of tarp hanging from the top, and then we shift the bubble wrap up to the top, and it's insulated, and with that we've been able to keep it up to 20 degrees inside. And then if you leave and come outside the tarps, it could be -1 or even colder. So it's interesting how it works. Our hope is to put a permanent wall in, right Gavin?
Yep.
Hopefully this year. And have some doors that we can open instead. But we'll see how it goes. We're going to start with the tarp, obviously, because we want to grow soon.
Yes.
I'm itching to grow. So we're going to try to finish filling these beds today. I'm going to put some manure in the bottom of them, I think. And then I've got some soil to mix, and some compost and manure, and hopefully we can fill them up and start growing something. Our pellets for our pellet stove is going to come hopefully in 2 days, so we can start to heat with that. And what we found in the past when we were growing to sell plants, things like petunias and tomatoes, actually the tomatoes need more warmth than the petunias, surprisingly. We found that we didn't want it to get down below 10 degrees. But most of the time I think we tried to keep it around 20. And with having both the pellet stove and the wood barrel stove, we were able to do that when we insulated the back wall and put up the insulated bubble wrap. And it required all those things in order for us to be able to achieve that. And the water barrels, which heat up really hot. So being off-grid here, we were trying to find a heat source, a secondary heat source, in case the wood barrel ran out of wood in the night, or just to give it that extra bit of heat. And we found out about the Wise Way, and so got a great deal from our local home hardware, and we have found that it's been worked really nice for us. Is there any things you want to talk about, Show?
Oh yeah, well, it's cool because literally no power goes to it, so everything's gravity feed. Like this hopper is gravity feed. It has no fan, so the stovepipe is basically how the heat gets out. So they made a long chimney pipe, and then there's a main burn chamber, a secondary burn chamber, and then an ash pan. And I found it works pretty good overall. When it goes to run out of pellets, sometimes it'll smoke a little out here because there's no pellets to keep the smoke from coming. But other than that, it works really good overall, and it keeps it that extra bit warm at night.
I think that when we have our first fire in it, we'll probably come back out and show how it works a little bit better. Do you want to open the hopper and we can look inside?
Oh yeah. It also, you have to light it with a blowtorch or something like that because it doesn't have any way of
See
lighting
whether
it.
there's pellets still in here, probably.
Yeah, still pellets in here.
Are they dry?
Mostly. They're a little soft, but they'll still burn, I think, just fine.
And it holds not quite a bag, eh?
Can't remember. I think it's somewhere around a bag or maybe a little less. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And we found that with this and heating the greenhouse with the wood barrel as well, that we went through probably a bag a day, which I think is not too bad.
Yeah, and in the daytime it can sometimes be turned down.
Yeah, we usually turn it down in the daytime because with all this sunshine it makes it really nice and warm in here. But as soon as the temperature drops outside, temperature drops in here.